this man has led us where more superstars are emerging into the main events in front of your very eyes.
It is a new time. It is a new era.
Are you ready?
How was that? Oh shit! What's going on? Hold on. There you go. All right. But that was a pretty dope opener, right?
Yeah, I didn't watch it when you sent it to me earlier, so I went in completely cold.
Yeah, it was dope, dude. I found that shit like about a week ago, maybe, and I was just gonna show it, but then we were doing the Wrestlemania show, so I'm like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Just
where'd you find it at?
Some dude on Twitter posted it, yo.
Oh, I was thinking it was maybe like a Instagram reel or something like that.
Nah, it was impressive though. It was impressively done, dude. It really was. But I kind of struggled with picking the colors for tonight, dude, because like, you know how like last year's was easy. I mean, we didn't have a show for last year's WrestleMania, but I'm saying it would have been easy just do the Philly green, right?
Yeah.
But you know that was the theme. Now for like, there is no one color theme for fucking this year's WrestleMania. It's like neon.
It's very multicolored.
Right. So I'm like, fuck it. I guess we go with like a gold for championship. I guess I don't know.
Championship.
Championship gold. I don't know.
Casino chips. whatever, because it's
Yeah, I
Las
mean, well,
Vegas.
even the logo up that they have hanging is fucking like multicolored, dude. It's like
Yeah.
neon. Like one of the cards is blue, and the other one's fucking yellow, and this one's red. It's like holy shit, dude.
Next year it'll be purple again.
Oh yeah, man. Like I hate to like hate on a region because like I ain't got nothing against the people of New Orleans or anything like that, or the area or anything like that. I'm just tired of WrestleMania being there, bro.
Yeah, they've had
Like, come on, man.
that's their third one it'll be their third one in 12 years.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like they had what, 30, right?
They had 30, 34, and now they'll have 42.
34 wasn't good.
That was a low point because it was like, why are both titles being retained at WrestleMania in really stupid fashions too?
Yeah. You know what? That might be up there at one of my worst WrestleManias. Like WrestleMania 2000, technically 16. They didn't call it 16; they just called it WrestleMania 2000.
Yeah.
But that was trash. The only good thing on there, I think, was like TLC or some shit, or a ladders match.
Yeah. Other than that, I actually have that one on DVD from when I used to buy DVDs before the network was a thing. So I remember watching it as a kid because, I wasn't a fan until 2007 because I'm younger. But, like, I remember being able to buy, like, some older DVDs that were harder to find, like the WrestleMania one. And I was, like, so excited to watch it, like, when I finally got it. And it's got about 3 good matches and the rest of it's just
rough,
like,
dude.
It's like almost unbelievable fluff.
I want to say the best match might have been. Didn't they have a hardcore match?
Yeah, and they had some match. The first match on the card is some Godfather match because he comes out and raps for like 10 fucking minutes, just going "Pimpin' ain't easy, man," for like 10 fucking minutes.
Yeah, but I want to say like I think the hardcore match was really good, and then they had some other match later in the show. It might have been. I don't think it was TLC. I don't think it was. But there was.
They had Edge and that was the first of the 3 TLCs, I think.
Was it? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay,
there was that one, and then they did it at WrestleMania the next year, and I think they did it at SummerSlam 2000 also.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, so I knew there was one thing that was good, like memorable about that WrestleMania. Yeah, a McMahon in every corner. That's right, Sully. A McMahon.
Obviously, I was too young at the time, but I'm
I was a kid, right? So, like, to me, as a kid, like, the build wasn't bad. Like, the lead into the show was awesome, dude. I felt like the build was awesome, dude. And the show just sucked, dude.
But what I was going to say was I often wonder why that, like, half decade, why WWE went away from stadiums to arenas for WrestleMania. I never really understood that. Did they just think they couldn't sell stadiums at the time, or what?
Well, the MSG ones, those are a different story because
those are a different story. But like,
everything else, dude, I don't know.
Because you got the Boston one, you got the Connecticut ones, and then you got 16 and 14 were at the same place where the Anaheim Ducks play.
Yeah, I think they just might not have believed they could have done those numbers back then. I mean, they might have been able to, but it's because like it may have been embarrassing to try and like not do it. So, you know what I mean? I think that they kind of like did it for confidence for a while, like, guarantee a sellout for WrestleMania.
Kind of like when they were gonna have Money in the Bank at Allegiant Stadium, but then they moved it to the MGM Grand.
Yeah, 2 was in 3 different venues. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, it was in MSG, LA Sports Arena, and then I think maybe Connecticut too.
Yeah. But as far as like bad WrestleManias of my lifetime, 2000 is up there outside of the TLC match.
To me, because I've watched. Oh yeah, it's the Trump Casino. I think that might be it.
Oh yeah.
To me, I'd say the weakest since I've been a fan because I've watched every single one of them live since 24, and I'd say the hardest ones going back are like 27, and 27 and 34 are probably the roughest out of all of them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for me, like the older ones are rough watches, but it's because I wasn't alive for that. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't alive and fucking like for the first WrestleMania.
Oh yeah, like I slacked on it this year, but like in previous years, I'll start watching like old WrestleManias in like March, and I remember the year I went to WrestleMania, I was doing that like crazy because I was so excited.
Yeah.
And I remember I watched WrestleMania 3, and I thought like it's crazy how they thought like back then it must have seemed like the coolest thing ever, but it was just boring to me.
Burndell is here. What's up, man?
What's up, y'all? How y'all doing?
How you doing, dude? We're reminiscing about WrestleMania's past.
Okay. Okay. All right. That's cool. Listen, I know this is you guys' hype show, but I gotta be honest with you guys. I'm not, and you know, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer here.
I'm not hype either, bro. I'm trying to drum up like
I need a little. I need a little positivity. I need a little, you know, because I'm not. I gotta be honest with you. I'm not feeling too hype about this WrestleMania. I mean, I absolutely don't think it's gonna be a bad WrestleMania at all.
Right.
But leading up to it, I like last year. As far as the card for last year, wasn't really too impressed with the card either. But the story was so good and intriguing, and you just knew this time around that something special was going to happen. So I wasn't too down on that, and they delivered last year. I'm sure they're going to deliver Saturday and Sunday. You know, I honestly think we're going to turn off our TV after Saturday and Sunday, and we're gonna sit back on our couch and go, "Damn, that was a really good show." Was it the greatest WrestleMania ever? Was it a WrestleMania 3, a 17, a 40? No, but you know, but as far as leading up to it, I honestly, besides maybe the Cody Cena match, which I'm not really that excited for either, but that's probably the match that I'm looking forward to.
right.
I don't know. Every other match on the card is from like just me mediocre to like I'm just very indifferent about it. So, what are you guys looking forward to? You know, it could be a match. It could be a story. What are you most looking forward to coming?
So first off, I got one coworker that watches wrestling, and he asked me today how excited I was, and he made a good point where I think we're in for something crazy for the main event of night one that's being a little overlooked, I think. And then also I saw a tweet the other day, and it said, I miss when Vince McMahon was running the road to WrestleMania, because even if the card looked like shit, he still made the show and the build-up just feel larger than life.
Yeah.
And I think about like a subpar average WrestleMania, like WrestleMania 31, which had a great ending, but the rest of it more misses than hits. And I remember being so excited for that, just like buzzing for the whole week. And now I'm like, well, it's here and I'm gonna watch it, but I'm not fucking buzzing. I'm not, having trouble focusing at work because I'm so excited and shit,
I think part of it is the long, like, this is our first WrestleMania extending the third week of fucking April.
Yeah.
We've never had that before.
Because last year was like April 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, that's along the traditional lines of like, maybe that too. It really does not feel like a WrestleMania season.
Yeah, we're burned out. We're burned out because we're like 3 weeks overdue.
Mm-hmm.
Right, exactly. Right.
So it's like, yeah, you in the traditional sense, WrestleMania is like late March, early
Yeah.
April, and it's like not
Vince
now.
would have never clicked for this.
Listen to this. So it's like, so I was mentioning to somebody, I was like, isn't it isn't it funny? WrestleMania is not only on Easter, but it's on 420, and and then he was like, it's Hitler's birthday too.
Oh,
I was like, well, number one, very concerned how you know that so quickly, and then number two, it's like, yeah, we got a lot going on. You know, you got WrestleMania weekend, you got Easter, you got 420, Hitler's birthday. I guess we'll throw that hat in the ring, no pun intended. So it's like you got a lot going on. Not only do you have it, not only do you have WrestleMania on Easter weekend, 420 weekend, but it's in Las Vegas, which feels
Yeah.
which feels sacrilegious. You know, he's spending Easter in Sin City, and
yeah,
then not only that, but you have it on Easter. You have it on Easter weekend. It's gonna be a lot's going to be going on, not only in Las Vegas but on Easter. You got people celebrating, going to
Yeah.
celebrating Easter, going to church, people getting high as balls, people
Yeah.
I guess getting
And,
getting getting a cake for Hitler's birthday. You got a lot going on,
yeah.
you got a lot going on this weekend, and it just so not only do you have WrestleMania in the second, no,
Yeah.
the third week of April,
Yeah.
which is already, it's like you
It's
said,
winter
we're
out
we're all we're exhausted. We are
yeah.
we are drained, and so it's like maybe
here.
that adds to, maybe for me, that adds to why I just feel so indifferent about this card. I got to be honest. There's not one, and kudos to Papa H. Kudos to
Yeah.
everyone involved at WrestleMania. Kudos to the writers. Kudos to the superstars. I honestly believe they are trying their damnedest to
Oh yeah.
hype this up. I think they're putting their foot to the gas. But man, I haven't been this underwhelmed and different about a card since
Well, it's crazy
since
because after Elimination Chamber, I couldn't have been more hype.
Yeah. And that was
yeah, there was.
over a month ago right now where we stand. It was March 1st.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah.
so yeah, it was. Now that you mentioned it, it was starting to feel after Elimination Chamber. I had a little bit of hope, especially with the Cody and Cena angles, just seeing where
Yeah.
that goes. And those two have been doing their damnedest, to hype this up too. That back and forth a couple weeks ago, think Cena had a little bit, of the edge to it. Doing
Yeah.
that interaction with those two, he had a little bit of the edge, but both of them held their own, and I knew once they got together and started to cook things up, that back and forth was going to be phenomenal, and it didn't disappoint.
Right.
But even that match, I'm like, yeah, I'm very intrigued, and want to see where that goes. But it's like I haven't been this underwhelmed about a WrestleMania card since probably WrestleMania 33, and I went to WrestleMania WrestleMania 33,
Yeah.
and I can't recall, probably phew, maybe WrestleMania 34, maybe WrestleMania 38, where card has been like, I'm excited to see more than one or two matches, or a couple
Right.
matches, or like I said, involving WrestleMania 40. I'm not too impressed with the card really, but the stories, are intriguing. Very excited to see where that goes. There's really nothing for.
Yeah.
I will say, the whole Jay and Gunther
Yeah.
and Angel, they've been, probably those two. and which I know is cliche because those are the championship matches.
Yeah.
But going back to what you said, Jack, I lost my train of thought, but you had mentioned something. You had made a very oh yeah, you had mentioned the triple threat match for
Yeah.
the night one,
Yes.
and there's got to be something funky happening,
Yeah.
you know, with it for it
Yeah.
to be for it to be a main event. Something something has to happen. Something career
Yeah.
changing. So
Yeah.
you just can't put that as the main event. No
Yeah. With
championship
no title,
involved.
right? Yeah. Yeah.
I know they're doing their damnedest to add some rhyme or reason to it, but I know this is Punk's dream to main event WrestleMania. Kudos to him, but
Yeah.
like,
It feels forced though.
yeah, and
You
so
know.
which only makes me think like you can't just have like either Roman, CM Punk, or Rollins. You can't have them win the match and referee raises their hand and then goes off the air for Saturday night. That's night one
Yeah.
of
Right. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
so something has
Something
to happen.
yeah, barring the unforeseen, something that makes us go like that
Yeah,
is
and
supposed has to happen is going to happen on Saturday night.
yeah, and I've
It's gonna
heard
be a
some
WrestleMania moment.
I've heard some speculations of what people might think happened. I don't want to spoil it on here just in case it does happen. But yeah, something has to go down. Like I said, you just can't have them have the match. And this isn't an episode of Raw or SmackDown.
Right.
This is
Right.
WrestleMania.
It's the main event of WrestleMania.
Yeah,
Yeah. Night.
something. So I guess I'm interested to see where that goes. You
How
know.
do you feel about one thing that? So I feel like WrestleMania has the right to be 2 nights. I don't think any other premium line event, as they're called now, deserves 2 nights. Nothing else but 2 nights, bro.
You know, I tend to agree with you because WrestleMania
Right. It makes sense. It's
it
WrestleMania.
yeah, that's the Super Bowl of wrestling. And
Right.
when they mentioned SummerSlam being 2 nights, um I was like, okay. And maybe that would have, they used to when they used to call SummerSlam the biggest party of the summer,
Yeah.
or whatever. You
Right.
know, maybe if they were using, maybe if they were using that slogan, then maybe it would make a little bit more sense for SummerSlam to be 2 nights because party's a party. A party.
Right.
I I know some parties that's
Yeah.
lasted
True.
2 nights, even even 3 nights. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I I won't. I'm not completely totally against it. I say let's check. Let's see where SummerSlam goes.
Yeah.
See what that does,
All
and
right.
then
So then, what's next, dude? Survivor Series 2 nights.
yeah, Survivor Series.
I really want to
Yeah,
talk about.
I get where you're going. And
You know what I mean? Like, I'm
what
just, yeah.
speaking of WrestleMania summer, and I don't want to get all over the place, but I have a very
Go
I
ahead.
I have a very interesting question for you guys. Like, growing up, what were the four pillars of the WrestleMania? I mean, of the wrestling pay per views. You had, you could think of the four
Yeah.
pillars. WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble. But I believe there are pay per views now that have probably not in longevity, but as far as like the whole pizzazz, pomp, and circumstances. What are you guys as what are you guys as four pillars of? I guess they calling them PLEs now. What are your four pillars of?
Like
You
my
know,
four favorite pay per views, like by name.
yeah,
All right.
yeah. So if you want to keep with the traditional, you can. But I gotta say, I at least got to take out one of those and replace it because I think I guess I'll start. So yeah, of course, traditionally my four pillars are or were, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble. I I I honestly look forward to the Royal Rumble now more than
Yeah,
WrestleMania.
Royal
honestly,
Rumble is one of my favorite
Just to
pay-per-views.
SummerSlam, just
Yeah,
feels more special to me.
yeah.
But I would say my four pillars now are WrestleMania, of course,
Mhm.
SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, and I would have to take out, Survivor Series.
Agreed.
Even ever since they got rid of the, traditional tag team matches and, replaced it with war
war
games.
games.
Yeah,
Uh,
which it was cool at first. Now that's run its course.
yeah.
Back to the traditional.
So I would keep the other three. I would keep the traditional three, and I would replace Survivor Series with Money in the Bank. So that would be my four pillars. Um,
So
even now, uh, I think probably in a couple more years, I think if someone wanted to add Backlash, to those four pillars. Who would have thought the PLE after WrestleMania Backlash,
yeah,
which I used to just call it like WrestleMania Rewind, or
pretty
WrestleMania's
much.
rematch.
And I
So
was thinking about this. I was thinking about this earlier when we were talking about how late WrestleMania is this year. 10, 15, 20 years ago, Backlash would have already been happening like now. And we
yeah,
haven't even had
yeah,
WrestleMania yet.
yeah. Backlash. Well, yeah, we would have been having our remember WrestleMania 21 when Batista defeated like Triple H for the heavyweight championship. Yeah, and like literally like 3 weeks later it was Backlash and they had their
Yeah,
rematch. So, but I mentioned Backlash because it's like uh, the, to me the cards on Backlash are like legit to me more interesting than, or at least for the past 2 years have been more interesting than any match on for WrestleMania. I mean, and plus, with them, like I literally think that they're going to like every Backlash gonna go out of the country in it. And I gotta say, when WWE goes out of the country,
yeah,
the that audience, they whoop our ass. Like it's
yeah,
ridiculous. Like that crowd is
I
insane.
I've said before, even a couple of those Raws that were on during the day in the U.S. a couple months ago,
Yeah, that they
they
put
they
us they put us to shame. It
you
was
watch
yeah,
those and it has the atmosphere of like a World Cup match.
yes,
yeah,
absolutely. You would think like they've never had wrestling a day
yeah,
in their life. How like excited you.
yeah,
I think we've become too spoiled. You
Yeah.
know.
Well, I
So
remember
like
I remember years ago, it was,
yeah,
we were watching. Me and my dad were watching the World Baseball Classic, and all the fans of like Venezuela, Dominican Republic, or one of those baseball hotbeds, their fans were going fucking insane. And my dad's like, "Look, they're going insane, and all fans in America do is go worry about getting in line for the next concession."
true.
yeah, we got used to it. I
Yeah,
guess we got
Like,
spoiled
like
and
like when I went to WrestleMania 32, I left my seat one time and I
mhm.
saw people coming up and down 20 different fucking
Yeah.
times. Like, you paid as much as I did, if not
Yeah.
far, if not
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
more. Like, what are you doing?
Absolutely. Them tickets ain't cheap. Like I mentioned before, I went to WrestleMania 33. I didn't leave my seat one time. My ex-wife, my wife at the time, she got everything. She wasn't really into to wrestling all like that. So she
yeah,
got everything. She got the pizza, she got the drinks. She's the one that took the bathroom breaks. I didn't listen. I didn't leave my seat even during the Pitbull performance. And I
yeah,
can't stand Pitbull. I can't stand it. But
yeah,
like you said, I paid an arm and a leg for these damn tickets. I'm gonna watch everything. I don't care. Love it.
yeah.
hate it, I'm going to watch everything. So I didn't leave my seat. Not
Even
once.
when I went to a SmackDown TV a couple months or a couple years ago. Like it's a 2-hour fucking show, and the people in my row left like 8 fucking times. I'm like, bro,
Yeah,
it's literally
right.
2 hours, and it went by like that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand the point of spending. Well, I mean, regular Raw or SmackDown tickets aren't as much, but like, still, like, I don't understand why people are like that. I can't put it through my head why.
Why go to a show just to like wander around? Like I don't understand, dude. Like
Yeah, just to hit up a concession stand like 3 or 4 times.
I mean, I can kind of understand it if you do it at like sports because you can go to more than one baseball game in a year and shit.
Right.
But like literally wrestling's, unless you're a hardcore fan who travels for WrestleManias or Royal Rumbles like I have, unless you're a hardcore fan who travels for it, they're only going to come to your area once, maybe twice a year. So like you seriously can't just stick out the 2 hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah, unless you're the green shirt guy.
Exactly.
Unless you're the green shirt guy or the Frank the Clown guy.
Yeah, you have no business. You like you said, you have no business getting up out of your chair just to dick around. Basically, I understand. Nature calls. You gotta use the bathroom. You get a little hungry. Maybe you were screaming at the top of your lungs. Your throat's a little dry. You need to get something to drink. But like you said, getting up like 3, 4, or 5 times is knowing you probably didn't go alone. You probably went with your buddies or somebody, probably paid for their tickets, so you're looking at probably like $600 altogether, and you're getting up every 5-10 minutes to go, like I said, dick around is
it's crazy.
And especially if you go to this WrestleMania, I heard tickets were ridiculous here.
Yeah.
So
it's like $8,000 for both nights or something, Jack, or some shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've looked the past few years. I only went to 32, but just out of curiosity, like I look on StubHub and shit just to see the prices, and there's like the top level for like $400 a night, and people keep bringing up like those old promotional things for like WrestleMania 19, and it was like $800 for the first row. Now it's $800 a night for a 200 level seat.
Yeah. So it's like, on top of that, with the price, that sounds about right, because for everything, we went to for WrestleMania 33, but that was like almost everything included. We went to the Hall of Fame, we went to WrestleMania Access, NXT, WrestleMania when it was only one night. We didn't go to the Raw after WrestleMania, but we went to the SmackDown after WrestleMania, and just all that included was about $7,000.
Speaking of Raw after Mania, remember last year's? Last year's was terrible, right? Last year's Raw.
Last year's was when it was Philly, and it was so packed. They had that like little stage so they could pack as many extra seats in. And then it started with Cody.
Oh no, it wasn't last year. It was a couple of years ago, bro. It was a couple of years ago. I think it was Vince was still running shit. I think.
There was the night after the one he went to. The night after Raw was when Roman came out after beating.
They booed him for like 5 minutes straight. Yeah, I know what happened. But yeah, like I said, I didn't. I
understand Vince was stubborn, right? But like, why didn't he just embrace Roman being heel at that moment, dude? Like, if not, what was the point of him beating the Undertaker? Like, you expect him to get cheered after that, dude? Like, the fuck?
Well, before we hit on that, because that's a very interesting topic. Let's go back to you guys as like 4 pillars of
So from mine, right? Because the era I grew up in, bro, I have to take out Survivor Series and put in King of the Ring.
Okay.
As one of mine.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it is a PLE now. That's a good answer. And then I like, what they're doing with the King and Queen of the Ring now. It's like kind of like a WrestleMania. The winner of that gets a championship match at SummerSlam. So I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah. All right, you're up, dude.
Well, you got to give your 4 pillars. You only is that the only
Oh,
one you flipped out was
so you know what? I could actually do without SummerSlam too, bro. Like
Yeah,
Money in the Bank, you need more
SummerSlam
than
used to.
SummerSlam.
Yeah, yeah. SummerSlam is getting kind of.
So
Yeah,
yeah, so it
yeah.
was
There's
Royal
no
Rumble,
argument there.
King of the Ring, Money in the Bank, and and WrestleMania, of course, yeah,
Yeah,
WrestleMania.
yeah.
Yeah.
So those are here for. No, no, definitely. Like SummerSlam used to be. Yeah, it used to be the close second for me
Yeah.
when growing up. Now it's like WrestleMania. You know,
WrestleMania Light.
yeah, more of the traditional,
Yeah.
and then Royal Rumble would be the second one for me. All right, Jack, what you got?
I would say obviously WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, um, TLC when it was good,
Wow,
Okay.
and Money in the Bank. I think.
wow.
I think.
I'm very. I knew you were gonna go unorthodox and just name something like totally out there that would make me and Josh go, "What the fuck are you talking about?" TLC is
TLC
a
in
very
the
interesting choice.
TLC in like the late 2000s, early 2010s, at least as a younger kid or I was early teen years, was
Okay,
entertaining to me. It was entertaining to me at the time,
yeah. No, no, I get
Yeah.
it. I get it.
especially in the later years, like 2014, when they wouldn't just do TLC matches, they would do a chairs match, a table match, a ladder match, and then they had Eric Rowan versus Big Show in a stairs match.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
yeah.
kind of like a form of Extreme Rules in a way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh no, I was gonna say, didn't they turn TLC into Extreme Rules? But no, they would have like literally like in the same year, the same breath, they would be like TLC in April, followed by
Yeah.
Extreme Rules
hey,
in May.
forget
Right.
the
Followed
the
by
COVID the COVID lockdown era Extreme Rules, the horror show.
Oh yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
that had so much potential, and they
It did.
just
It really did. It
you
did.
know
It did.
that had so much potential.
It would have worked in a normal year, but not
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
I think even in the COVID year because because they called it Extreme Rules the horror show, but it was like only one
Yeah.
match that was
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it was Bray, wasn't it Bray and
Braun.
Braun?
Yeah, and they were like, and that was like when dude when Braun threw Bray and like to into like the water or
Yeah,
whatever.
they were fighting like on the little like raft
Yeah,
in the swamp.
and then did that bring back the Fiend? Because wasn't
I
I think
no,
it had to.
no,
no,
it
no.
didn't. It didn't.
Strowman had to they fought like three times, right? And then
It didn't bring back the Fiend though, because then a couple weeks later was when they switched from the training center to the Thunderdome, and that's when Bray won the belt for a week, and then Roman came back and won it.
no, so yeah, and so the Fiend beat Braun Strowman at SummerSlam. That was in the Thunderdome.
Yeah,
That was the same night.
then they had the 1 week reign of Bray. I don't remember. Was he the Fiend then? I just don't remember.
Yeah. He definitely was the Fiend. I think the horror show it was Braun Strowman versus the Firefly. Wyatt, if I can remember.
Yeah,
I believe so. Cause wasn't Alexa Bliss like somehow involved in that match? I
I
believe
think
so.
so.
And
Yeah.
then the match ended with Braun like throwing like this was the second
Oh
time.
yeah.
This was the second time Bray was like thrown into water and then like transformed into like
Oh yeah.
something, I guess. But yeah, other than that match, there wasn't really much horror to the show.
No.
Um, I know Bailey had a match with. Did Bailey have a match with Tamina on that shows? So yeah, that
I
show
don't
had.
remember none of that card, dude. I'm gonna be honest with
Yeah, that's the only.
So what I thought at the time was, I'm like, the horror show sounds awesome. But why are we doing it in the sun in June in the fucking middle of the summer? It'd be cool if it was like Halloween time.
Yeah,
Out of the park, but they didn't.
Yeah, I thought that was a little weird too.
Taker
But
and AJ
I was
match, that was good. The Taker and AJ graveyard match was like the best thing that came out of the COVID WrestleMania.
Yeah,
that came out of that to me. Well, actually, both of the cinematic matches were good because they did.
No, they did a fantastic job
and Bray.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah,
I like that one a little more. I remember the AJ. I'm not a huge fan of Biker Taker. So I was a little bit, kind of like on that. I appreciate it a little bit more now. But they were fighting in the graveyard. You want the dead man. You don't want some dude pulling up on his
with his fucking his cut off shirt and his
and him and AJ Styles looking like two brothers, fighting at their mom's
two dudes who got
it's like
two dudes in their jeans in a bar fight.
It's like two uncles, just fighting in the cemetery, or whatever. But no, they did their thing, for what they were given, especially during that time. Not only WrestleMania 36, but just the whole pandemic era or the Thunderdome era of WWE. Very creative. It was very creative, I think, especially the Money in the Bank. During
that was good.
Another creative thing was in the COVID WrestleMania when they had the ladder match for the tag titles, but they only had one guy from every tag team.
Yeah, I like that too. No, that was good. No, they did a lot of experimenting. I honestly think more stuff was successful during that Thunderdome era than I think a lot of more hits than misses during that time.
And then like another one was when they did the Royal Rumble in the Thunderdome, and when they had Roman versus Kevin Owens, and they were doing the Thunderdome from Tropicana Field where the Rays play at the time. So they were like Roman and Kevin Owens were like fighting all over the place, like on the baseball field and shit.
No, I know a lot of people like to shit on the Thunderdome era, but I know a lot of people don't like to mention it, but I do. I like creativity when your back's against the wall and you don't have a lot of the resources, so you're like forced to be creative. And because when money's thrown your way, and then when you have access to a whole bunch of shit, of course it's easy to do whatever you want. But
I honestly also think that AEW, when they were fully remote at Daly's place, that was like a good era compared to what they fucking do now. It was really entertaining at the time, but then at the time also I was just home from work for 4 months trying to keep myself sane. But to me, like I loved like the first when they did Double or Nothing at Daly's place and they did that like football field match and they fought all over the stadium and like threw them across the bar and shit.
Yeah, because it's like I said, they were like didn't have a lot of resources, didn't have a lot of access to stuff, so you had to use what you had. What was given to you. And I think both, WWE and AEW kind of thrived off of that. And was it the best era ever? No, but
at least they tried.
Yeah. And like I said,
and also
more hits than misses.
I mean, also people don't realize this, but the Thunderdome era is really what led to Tribal Chief Roman.
Yeah, I was gonna say that a minute ago. Like
he took advantage of no crowd and like making it seem like cinematic, like a movie, like you're speaking in the ring. You don't have to scream anymore. Like people can fucking hear you.
Like for example, what if there was never a lockdown pandemic and that WrestleMania went on as planned and it was Roman versus Goldberg? Would there even be a bloodline ever? Like I don't even think they would have had the time to think that out like they did, because you got to remember when the COVID shit first happened, Roman Reigns went away for
he was like, nah, I'm good on that. He was like, he's like, I'm not getting sick again. I honestly think the bloodline still I think the bloodline still would have happened. Maybe not, maybe not the way that they did, but I think they I don't think they had it like planned out like 6 months in advance, but I think at some point they would have gotten there. But yeah, no, the pandemic slash Thunderdome era. Um, I'm not gonna lie, I don't go back and watch except for
Right.
like the rest of it. I don't go back and like let's see the such and such match from Raw episode whatever or the Thunderdome era. It's like no, I'm not even gonna sit here and lie and but
Yeah.
no, like during that time when you were like, hey, this is all we have, you know,
They were the only thing that was trying to do something live weekly. Like every other
yeah,
thing was shut down, dude.
every and then yeah, and so kudos to Vince, kudos to WWE
Yeah.
during that time. They were like, no, we're gonna this is what we thrive on. We're gonna, keep the show going. I'll tell you this much. Going back to WrestleMania 41, I was more
Yeah.
excited for the cards on WrestleMania 36 than I am for the card on 41.
See, here's the
That's
thing.
for damn sure. I
Here's the thing.
quite
Like this WrestleMania for me, I know the quality is going to be good. Just the build has
no,
been
it's
bad.
it's gonna deliver. And one thing I like about the Triple H, I guess Netflix era is to me they've delivered. Maybe the build up to it, it's not as impressive, as a McMahon's build up. Because
Right.
like you guys said, McMahon would. It's funny because McMahon would have like the amazing build up, and then the like shitty WrestleMania, and then
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
it's
It's like
like
run it
we're
all
so
like,
so
ah.
so
Like,
he,
all
and,
right, dude, I'll hit
yeah, he didn't deliver in that regard. In the Triple H era, it's like a very underwhelming build up, but it's like when we get there, it's like home run.
But,
It
but
seems
then
like
but then
home,
when it
home run.
happens,
Yeah,
but then when it happens and it's all said and done, you can't get enough fucking WWE for like
Yeah.
2 weeks at
yeah,
least
you
after that.
so
Like I remember last year I watched both days at one of my friend's house here, and then when I got home, because I lived like 20 minutes away from him, but like when I got home, I was dialed in and I watched that full like post-show press conference. I was so hyped for Raw the next day. Like that's what's happened both years of Triple H, and I
Yeah.
don't see why not to expect that this year.
abs- no, I have no doubt. Like I said,
Yeah.
after Saturday, after Sunday, I know I'm not going to be like this is the greatest. That was the greatest WrestleMania, but
Right. Yeah.
I feel in my gut, I'm gonna sit back and be like, uh, damn, they did it again. I don't know what match that's gonna be. I don't know what moment that's gonna be, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm not completely, doubtful. I'm still very optimistic in a way, so I have some sort of hope.
Yeah.
Uh,
Like they've earned my trust.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they've never really dropped the ball yet.
So, but what match or matches are you guys, looking forward
I'm
to?
definitely LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu is definitely a sleeper, definitely underrated.
Okay. I think it's Jacob's time. I
Yeah.
feel like there's no way they can't have him have this be his like WrestleMania debut and he just loses. The crowd loves him. He's very unorthodox.
Yeah, very. And
Uh,
he's just a fucking dog too, because
He
he's
looks like a
big.
madman. Like for someone who doesn't watch wrestling, just imagine being someone who doesn't watch wrestling. Just
Yeah.
some poor woman flipping through the channels.
Like,
And you stop on this guy growling and fucking flipping around and shit. You're like, yo,
like when I first started
Who is
watching
this dude?
wrestling when I was 10 years old, I remember being freaked out by
that's what I
Umaga.
mean.
Umaga.
yeah.
So I
Right.
can totally see how like a kid watching today is freaked out by him, you know?
So he's got that boogeyman Umaga vibe, and yeah, I'm here for it. But my concern, Jacob Fatu, he's the man. I love that dude.
Yeah.
Like I think he has an amazing future ahead of him. But do you see him? And no knock against him, but with his whole demeanor and mannerisms, do you see him as the top guy in the future in the WWE, especially holding the top prize
I
for
can see him. I can see him being
crowd loves him.
at or near main event status, but not
Yeah.
always. I see like his realistic ceiling is the mid card, but that's okay.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. I could see him. I could see him in a Rusev position, as undefeated, just tearing through these guys. But on he's like at the top of the tier of the mid card.
Yeah.
But like you said, nothing wrong with that because let's be honest, some of our favorite wrestlers, it's
Me and you
not
were talking about this the other
not
night. We were talking about this the other night. How like, or maybe it was a couple of shows ago or something. But when me and you grew up, down, guys knew their position on the card.
yeah.
Like you would never see Val Venus going for the fucking world title, dude. He
Yeah,
knew his role.
It was
IC, you know.
if you watch that Monday Night War show that was on the network like 10 years ago, they talked about how like the WWE roster saw themselves as an army, that they all had a role to play, whether you're the fucking world champion or you're the guy wrestling on fucking Sunday Night Heat.
And this is nothing wrong with that. I understand like people have that thirst, that hunger to, get the top prize, but obviously, like you said, Josh, if you're a Val Venus, like you wouldn't come home. You know what
From that era, D-Lo.
could you imagine, and no knock against Jay Uso at all, but could you imagine like the night after Royal Rumble, people, the announcers like, ladies and gentlemen, welcome your 1998 Royal Rumble winner, Crash Holly, and then
Well, he's over.
Right.
Dude.
And not like I said, not a knock against Jay. I know the crowd loves him. I appreciate him, but it's like not everybody, especially if you're on the mid card, is going to get. It seems like they're and I kind of like it, but kind of against it in a way. It's like they're like giving every like person who is a mid carder. Like I said, nothing wrong with that. It's like they're trying to give them every opportunity at like a championship, and that's cool for like every once in a while. I remember, years back, they gave Cesaro that opportunity when he went against Roman, but it wasn't like at a WrestleMania. I believe this was like at one of the lower PLEs, but it's like now it's like, hey, if the crowd loves you, if it looks like you're gonna sell tickets, merchandise, you're gonna put asses in seats, yeah, we're gonna give you, the opportunity. And I don't know if everyone, like you said, everyone knows their position. Like
Hey,
Roddy Piper to me, was never like the top guy, but I'd say he was along the lines, of like a Jacob Fatu, like a top tier mid carder who could take like the IC championship, the United States championship,
yeah.
because those are considered the workhorse championships. Nothing wrong with those championships at all. You know, Somebody like a Mr. Perfect, who's probably the top tier of like the mid card. I don't think ever probably did, but not memorable. Probably competed for the top world championship prize or whatever. But some of my favorite wrestlers, like a Mr. Perfect, you know, like I said, like a like a Rusev who was dominant for damn near almost a year, played that position and was just tearing through like competitors, but was like, here's the workhorse championship, here's the United States championship, do what you need to do with it. And I think, they delivered. Like you said, nothing wrong with being a mid carder. I understand that thirst, that hunger to be the top guy, but everyone's not gonna be the top guy. And you gotta be okay. You gotta be okay with that, you know. I don't and it's nothing against Jacob Fatu, because that guy's a beast, and
Mhm.
I can't wait. I can't.
Yeah.
Oh my god, what would be a a great WrestleMania match, just a great match, and I can't wait for the day for Jacob Fatu to go against Braun Breaker. I, I'm
True.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm all for that.
They
Oh,
need that for WrestleMania too. They don't need to do it at.
here's
They don't need to do it
Yeah.
at.
There's some shit they need to wait on. Yeah. Yeah.
speaking of Braun Breaker. Here's a hot take. Here's a hot take.
Hmm.
I think Braun Breaker has the greatest spear in wrestling history.
He
Period.
might, man. He might.
Period. Period. He. I see that spear and I'm like, some people should be dead. I don't. He has.
Yeah.
It just makes no sense. That man is a beast.
He's like a missile.
He's like a hybrid of Goldberg, but actually a good wrestler.
Yeah.
Uh, his uncle, his dad, he's like a hybrid of all.
Yeah.
I'd be terrified to go in the ring with that guy. I know he'll make me look like $1,000, but he would just that spear would rip me in half. Like and and
Yeah.
and uh, props to ISO Speed. That's his name, right?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Props to Carlito. Oh my god, and these guys selling that spear like $1,000,000. Like, damn, that spear.
I don't know if that was more of him selling or fucking just. I mean, Braun launched himself, dude.
Yeah,
He
he
really
probably.
did that shit.
Yeah, could you imagine they get backstage, Braun, goes up to Speed's like, great sell. He's like, I wasn't selling that shit. That shit broke
Yeah.
me in half.
Yeah.
But no, I honestly think Braun has. Oh my god, that dude's a beast. I can't wait for him and Fatu to just collide. I, I'm here for it, man. I'm here, and hopefully down the line, much sooner than later, we see that matchup. But yeah, yeah, going back to like, I'm trying to think for WrestleMania, like
Mhm.
besides the championship matches, like what match I'm like looking forward to.
I'm looking forward to El Grande Americano and Rey Mysterio.
You know what? I'm not against that at all.
I'm not
Uh,
neither. It's gonna be good, dude. It's gonna be great. It could steal the show.
Chad Gable, protect that man at all costs. Like I said, just like knows his position. You
Yeah.
know, what started out as like people like, no, this is like a Kurt Angle copy. He's just like taking it and just making it his own. Like,
Yeah.
dude's impressive. Dude, I think I there's not one wrestler right now that I don't like or at least don't appreciate. It's just sometimes it's like I don't know where they're as far as like storylines or things like that. I don't know where they're going, and it's like they just have an abundance of superstars. Like
Yeah.
they have so many as far as like WWE, not even talking about AEW, but it's like WWE, NXT, and then now WWE has a lower division. I don't know if you guys know this, but they have like a lower division than NXT now. It's called the like Evolve.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Tubi show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so they have an Evolve, brand now. So it's like, so now you got the Evolve brand, you got the NXT brand, you got the SmackDown brand, Raw brand. It's like I remember growing up, like I knew just about every wrestler's name because wasn't a lot. You just had one
Right.
brand at that time, Raw,
Yeah.
maybe SmackDown. It was easy to
Yeah. It
follow
was all
all
one
these
roster.
wrestlers.
It's not two shows.
It's like if you like mention a wrestler's name to me now, I'll be like, what is that, AEW or WWE's?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah. Right.
I don't know anyone's name
It
now.
just
So
means that we're becoming unks.
yeah, so yeah, basically, yeah, we're like, yeah,
One thing
we're
that I
hit.
hate about common like this new era of wrestling, there's no more characters, bro. Like everyone's first name, last name. Fucking
Yeah.
stop, bro. I'm tired of it.
Well, well,
You
that's
don't have
better.
like Kane or like Undertaker. There's nobody like that now.
No, I get what you're saying. It's more like athletic based, like a Tom Brady, as far more than like an Iron Man character. It's like,
Right.
I listen. I would definitely rather have that than a Duke the Dumpster Drosy, whatever his name was,
True.
or
Yeah. Like
the
kind of like
you
a
know
happy medium because there was a time there where like
you know.
everybody was a wrestler but had a job. Like Duke the Dumpster, all right, dude, all right, okay. And he also wrestles. And it's like, what, dude, really?
Yeah, I'd rather have that. I'd rather have AJ Styles, Logan Paul, John Cena than
Yeah.
the
Then Buck Rock and Roll Zoomhoff.
yeah or Jack Napier, the gynecologist. It's like everyone had a profession
Yeah,
like during the
right.
daytime, but in the
Yeah.
nighttime, it's like, yeah, I'm a wrestler. The
Right. Yeah,
daytime,
exactly.
you
Yeah.
know,
David was so bad.
the daytime. In the daytime, I'm a mechanic, but once six in the evening hits, I'm lacing
Once
my
6 in the
boots.
evening hits and it's quitting time,
Yeah, it's
you're
good.
gonna see me at the Legion.
You just see someone like clock out and then go to their car and just put some boots on and just drive to like a wrestler. It's like, yeah, this is my job in the nighttime.
Hey, Randy the Ram working at the deli. Ram Jam.
Or what was Hardcore Holly's name back then?
Martin Club.
Sparky or whatever, where he
Martin
was like a
Club.
race car driver. I'm like, dude, come on. So I'd much rather have what they got going on now than like everyone has a profession during the daytime. Then and then the nighttime, it's like, yes,
Yeah, I
it's
mean, that's what I'm saying. We were
like
still
Jack
like
said,
a
it's quitting
medium.
time. Yeah, like Jack said, it's quitting time.
Yeah.
Put on
Yeah.
these tights. Let's get to work.
Not even just like that. So I'm saying we have to find a medium. Like there's nobody like Edge, right? He was just a normal dude. His name was just fucking Edge, dude. He wasn't fucking. You know what I mean? He just wasn't first
Does
name, last name. Well,
does
I guess
any
it was for a minute, but
does anyone have like a gimmick name now, or just like a
no.
one name? The Miz. You got the Miz.
Yeah, but he's a
Uh,
fucking holdover though from like when that was going around.
okay, let's see if there's like any newer guys, like at least 5 years within the 5 years. I'm trying now that you mention it, trying to think. You might be right. I can't think of anybody who has like a one name or like
That's what
a
I'm saying, dude.
Carlito. I'm just kidding.
uh um man.
See, it's a problem, dude.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure, if you think if I guess Gunther. Gunther.
But that's a name though.
Oh, you mean like so's Kane.
True, yeah, true.
Kane's you mean like I know what you're saying, but
The Rock, Stone Cold, The Undertaker.
yeah, but so yeah, let's apply that to like a newer trying to think.
I mean,
No.
We can say CM Punk, but that's another leftover from.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Penta don't count either because he's been Penta for fucking like a decade.
Yeah, I'm talking about like someone created in WWE that's
someone
been
that
here for
WWE
like
created, like Doink or something.
I know it's right there, and I know somebody at home is probably screaming at the top of their lungs who it could be.
They're super effective. Yes. Super busy stuff.
I can't think of it. Yeah, you're right.
Well, I mean, Sully did just say Penta, so.
Yeah, but Penta, he's been around for he's had that name before he came here, like someone that WWE created, like Gangrel, Edge, shit like that, dude. Like an action name, like you said, The Rock, Stone Cold, shit like that. I don't think there is one, dude. Everyone that they've introduced in the past like 7 years is like Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. Like everybody is first and fucking last name. It's annoying, dude. I just want some variety. I'm not asking half the roster to be.
He said R-Truth.
Again, like K Quick. He was tag teaming a Road Dogg when he came in. He don't count, dude. He's an
Yeah, you know what's funny is like my brother wasn't like when like my brother like wasn't like he watches wrestling and shit too, but he wasn't like me and like always researching shit. So when we got the network, my brother was going back and watching old shit as I was, and he's like, "Yo, I'm watching Invasion. I didn't know R-Truth was around like beforehand." Before he was in TNA, having tag team champions with Pac-Man Jones.
Yeah, dude, he came in when I was still a kid. I was like 12, 13 years old.
You should have told him no, that's NWA champion.
Yeah, oh, that's right.
Our Truth or K Quick, whatever his name was during that time. Yeah, but yeah, like you said, Josh, I can't really think of anybody who has like that one name.
We need a happy medium.
All right, hold on.
We need a here.
Yeah, it's very hard to. I'm pretty sure while we keep talking, I'll probably come up with somebody. But so going back to Russell, one of the matches, that I keep forgetting that's I guess on the card, not on the card, official, not official yet. What's going on with Orton? Like, what do you think's going on?
I think it'll be Nick Aldis, but we won't know until either Friday or Saturday.
I mean, it makes sense, I guess, because you don't want someone because a lot of people are talking about like a Rusev or Aleister Black or Ray Phoenix, and you don't want, number one, you don't want Orton to lose at WrestleMania. I don't think it just doesn't make sense. I mean, maybe he could lose to a Rusev, Aleister, but it's definitely like you don't want these newer guys to walk in. Or not newer guys, but returning superstars, I guess, especially a Rusev or Aleister Black, and just get their asses handed to them by Orton their first match back, especially at WrestleMania. Do you? So it would only, I guess, make more. I guess it would make more sense for all this to Russell, which I think would be a very special moment for him. It's probably would be one of. I think he would love that, but. Where do we go the following SmackDown? Is all this back wearing his suit and tie? It's just business as usual, or is this like just a one and done, or is he gonna get more opportunities to wrestle down the line?
I think he'll I think it'll just be like a one-off thing, like when Vince McMahon used to wrestle sometimes.
That's what I think.
Yeah, that makes sense. But do you think like this will be like the Friday SmackDown? How do you think this is gonna go? You think this is gonna be like, all right, it's one and done? Aldis and Orton, shake hands, like good match, or is this like a feud now?
I mean, I can see it being a squash match. And then Orton calls for Cody's title after he retains it.
I could definitely see Orton versus Cody I was gonna say SummerSlam, but even a Backlash now, because Backlash, it's Backlash Paris
and Backlash, it'll be international again, so they'll need star power.
I can honestly see Cody versus Orton at Backlash, and I think that crowd is going to go crazy.
And Josh, you sent it to me yesterday. The Backlash promo poster has Orton on it.
Yeah.
Oh, it does. Like is he with now? Is this like Orton with? I haven't seen the poster. Is this Orton by himself, or is this Orton with like other superstars?
It's Orton with
just him surrounded by snakes. I'll pull
Orton surrounded by snakes. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll show.
So, I mean, but they have done that before. Where I think that one, I forgot which wrestler it was, but they had him on the poster for PLE, and he wasn't even involved in anything.
Yeah, well, that does happen a lot, but I just thought it was
it makes sense on paper, but yeah, they have done that before where it's like, just using this for an example, where Undertaker would be on the poster and you're like, oh, this is gonna be Undertaker themed, or Undertaker's nowhere near this.
Yeah.
You know, not at the concession stand, nowhere, not anything. He's at home, and he's at home on his ranch in Texas.
Yeah.
So okay, no, that would definitely make sense. I mean, I'm here for a backlash with Orton versus Cody. I think that match would be amazing. Like I said originally, I would think that was a SummerSlam match, but no, like Backlash is becoming just as big as to me a SummerSlam Money in the Bank.
Yeah,
So
it
I,
is. I mean, the
I
last two
Yeah.
backlashes have been off the charts, especially last year.
Yeah.
Good
yeah,
crowd, prime time because it's on during the day in the U.S. on a
Mhm.
Saturday afternoon, or I think Saturday morning, afternoon, whatever.
yeah. So I could see. No, I could definitely see Orton versus Cody, and I think that that's going to be a barn burner, and yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. Question for you guys:
What's up?
Do you think do you think it should have just been Rhea versus Bianca, or do you like seeing Io in the mix? Getting a lot of speaking of backlash, getting a lot of
Well,
backlash about Io being involved in the match. There's
I don't
two.
think it should have been. I don't think it should have been a triple threat.
No, I really think people just
Either
want
way,
to, and not a knock against EO. I really love EO, but I think a lot of people just wanted to see the powerhouse of Bianca and Rhea go at it, and then you got EO involved. That's why it makes me think like EO's going to win this match, because I think while those two are distracted, I honestly think it would probably be. Nah, I'm not even gonna even call it, because I was originally gonna say I would think it would make sense for Io to win, because while Rhea and Bianca are like distracted with each other,
that's what I was thinking
something
too. Because
something happens, Io
doing it
gets a
that
roll
way,
up or something gets the pin, and then
doing it that
maybe
way, no matter who they do it to, it protects everyone in the match.
yeah.
Because they lost because they were distracted fighting with this one. They didn't lose because they're bad or they got stomped. They lost because they were distracted.
Yeah, they took their eyes off the prize for a little, and
Right.
then maybe heading into backlash, could be Rhea Bianca, but then who? But I don't know. I think probably at backlash it might be Bianca versus Io, maybe. I I don't know. I'm excited to see how that goes. Um, but what is the match that you guys are least looking forward to? Where you're like, I don't care.
Let me look at the card real quick.
You're like, I don't care at all. Like, I'm indifferent about it.
All right.
Probably the women's tag, sadly. The women's tag.
You know,
Even though like Bailey and Lyra, they had a good match on Raw.
yeah, yeah.
You
They
know,
always, when those two link up, they always have really good matches. They-
I can't. I don't. As I'm looking at it right now, I don't see anything like I really don't like. Like, there's stuff that's like not as significant. Like, I mean, I guess even the more I think about it, it is. But like,
what about the New
I don't
Day
know. Like
Warriors?
the women's tag team match to me will be a certified bathroom break. But
yeah,
I
but
don't. I don't see
nothing
anything I
against
hate.
them.
Yeah. I mean,
Nothing against them, but with
even
like regarding that match, we're talking about the women's tag team match. Like, I like Bailey, I like Lyra, but where the hell has Alexa Bliss been? I was really thinking, where's she been?
She
Uh,
was the top of the night.
where has the White Six? I honestly, this might sound crazy, but I honestly was thinking, Raquel Liv versus Alexa with Nikki Cross from Wyatt Six or whatever, and that could be a reunion with those two. Like, what the hell are they doing with Alexa Bliss? She hasn't been on TV since I don't know what's the White Six been up to. I don't watch SmackDown like that anymore.
They haven't been on TV in like 6 months.
So
Yeah.
what the hell are they doing
Like,
with
it's
them?
because their debut was awesome, dude. I was
Yeah,
hyped for shit,
The
man.
lead up and the debut was tremendous.
Yeah.
that's
And then
why
they're
they.
just treated like fucking. They're just treated like fucking jokes as soon as they're actually on TV.
Yeah, that's why I tended not to get too excited about the whole White Six thing. Because I knew after a while it was going to burn out, and probably nothing against them. But something like that, especially when it belonged. I know we're paying homage to Wyatt or whatever. Props to him. In that
Yeah.
in that regard, because it's like when he started out, I was like. He called himself the new face of fear, and I'm like, dude, no one's ever gonna replace Undertaker.
Right.
No one's ever gonna, replace like a Undertaker, a Kane. But he's like, no, I'm not here to replace them. I'm here to do my thing and do my and that dude that to me, at least for me, that was one of the biggest losses in wrestling because that dude had so much potential, so much creativity, even like his newer character that he was involved with until he passed, unfortunately. Wasn't really a huge fan of that Bray Wyatt. I mean, he had just started
Right.
getting things going, but like I still respected his creativity, him going outside of the box. And I don't think, as far as like characters, like someone being involved in their character like that, so invested in their character like that, so creative with a character like that, I don't think we're gonna get a mind like that in a very long time.
Yeah.
I
So
agree. I
what
agree.
what a huge loss, and that just and nothing against forgot his brother's name.
Both.
Bo. But it's like, dude, you're like skinnier than a popsicle. You're not
Yeah.
intimidating. The mask is bigger than you are.
Yeah.
It's and props to him for trying to take his brother's legacy and keep it going. But it it's not hitting.
I mean, to me, like, just as a creative person, like, I understand he wanted to carry on his brother's legacy and shit like.
Yeah.
But like, only one man can carry on his ideas as he sees fit, bro.
Mhm,
You know what I
exactly.
mean? You're taking on an impossible task, dude.
Yeah, because what you envision
Right.
in your mind, you can explain it to somebody. You could,
Right.
show somebody how to do it. They can copy and paste, off of you, but it's just not going to hit the same. It's just not going to have that aura. It's not going to have that it factor. And I knew awesome debut.
Yeah.
But I knew I was like, I'm not gonna get excited about it. I'm not
Well,
I'm
no,
not doubt
they did
I'm
have
not
that
gonna
bummer
shit
ass
on it though.
debut match though against Gable and American Made, right?
Yeah. No, that yeah.
It was on Raw, right?
Yeah.
It was a hardcore match kind of thing.
Yeah, it was like a falls count anywhere or a
Yeah,
no holds
it
barred
was good.
match. And yeah, but then after that, I was like, all right, what are we gonna do after that? Like, then some people were like talking about, oh, after this, they're gonna feud with New Testament, and then I was like, well, New Testament has one foot in the
That shit
grave
went nowhere too.
and one on a banana pill, so that would have been cool to see where that goes. I was like, oh, now that New Day is Hill now, I can't wait to see where that goes. They're on separate brands now. Maybe somewhere in the future they can do something. It's like so many things they could have did with the Wyatts, and it's like now they're just like dead in the water. Really haven't heard anything from them. It's just complete like dead air, just static, and it's just unfortunate. And
Yeah.
I think they should have just kept the ball going. I don't think that they should have stopped. There should not have been 1 week where something involving the White Six is not on air. A promo, a wrestling match. interview, something. It could hit, it could miss. I don't care as long as they're on TV. You know, and I know what they say, like absence makes the heart grow fonder, but
Yeah,
like,
to an extent.
yeah, you know you don't just drop the ball on it like a month into into them doing this. Like they were only on TV for probably like a month and a half, and then after
Yeah.
that, pretty much like
Yeah.
cease to exist now. So it's like, so now they might come back and might be, hot for a cup of coffee, but then it's like you've already lost me. I'm not excited.
Yeah, because everybody's gonna be like, well, you already teased us once,
Yeah.
so
So and then it's like we're not gonna get. So I feel if they do come back, I'm not saying it's impossible, but I think it's gonna be pretty difficult to, get that momentum back.
maybe it happens at WrestleMania.
My
It could.
opinion.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
so
being at
if
Las Vegas, Sin City, it would only make sense for like, I don't know. Be cool to
if
see
if
why sits there, but I
if
doubt it.
if Alexa was on the card, I could see it. That would be a way to introduce him. But she's not even
Yeah.
on the card, so
Yeah. So it's like, what the hell's going on with her? She had one match after Elimination Chamber. I forgot who she went
yeah,
against on SmackDown, and then after that, I haven't heard much from her, which is
nothing at all.
unfortunate. So I don't know. Uh
I guess the other match I'm looking forward to would be the Fatal 4-Way for the IC title.
I think that's going to be a very interesting match. I won't say that that's going to be one of the greatest matches on the card. I think it's going to be very quick, but I
You think it's
think
gonna be good?
yeah, I don't see that match going any longer than uh,
20?
no, it's not 20 minutes. I can see
No?
it. I'll be surprised if it's longer than 10 minutes.
Which
Really?
match? Which match? I zoned out for a second.
The Fatal 4-Way IC title.
Straight a four-way I see.
I
I
could
don't
see it going. I could see it going 10 or 15.
Yeah. If it hits 15 minutes, I'll be like, wow, this is longer than I thought. But I see it. I don't see it going over 10, which is not a bad thing. I think you could do a lot. I think you could tell a great story in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Um.
True. So who do you got winning? Because I got Dom.
Oh, I got Dom all the way.
Yeah.
It would be a mistake
He deserves that moment.
if you're not going to give it to Dom, just leave it on Braun. But I see Dom walking out with. Who would have thought Dom would be as impressive as?
We all should have seen it coming because he had the business in his blood. He just had to break away from his dad, dude. Because all we were ever going to do was associate him with his dad.
Yeah, and he was just gonna be this little like
Yep.
dorky nerd getting beat up trying to defend his dad.
No, I knew when I first
Yeah,
saw him.
right. He always just like stand up for his dad and fight for his honor and get his ass.
Yeah,
kicked.
you know what's funny is during the Thunderdome era when there was the whole feud of the Mysterio family and Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy. I remember my dad. This is when I was still living at home, and my dad's like, man, I turn wrestling on by accident once a month, and all I ever see is Rey Mysterio's family.
During that time, he had Dom, he had his wife, he had his daughter, had his dog, had his grandpa. We went inside Ray's house one Thanksgiving, I guess, and
they were dragging Ray across the floor.
Yeah, and they're like, why does Ray had his Christmas tree up in the middle of November? That was the thing like people took away from that. But yeah, but no, kudos to Dom. He's becoming one of my absolute. I think actually last year he was voted #1 wrestler under 30 or something like that. So in some
he got most hated wrestler recently.
So
from
PWI. Which I think he's not crying over that. I would love that. He's like you said, wrestling in his blood. He's literally getting the Vicky Guerrero treatment where he's like getting booed out of the building, but it's like people love to boo him. And I hope he's like taking this in and just like enjoying this, because who would have thought like this kid is doing his thing and just having the time of his life.
He actually has one of my favorite WrestleMania entrances. when he came out.
Oh, when he
It was amazing, dude.
and yeah, just wrestling his ass off,
Yeah.
just having the crowd, behind him like that, not, behind him like cheering for him, but
Yeah.
like just booing the shit out of him as a heel. Rather have that than just being quiet or no one interested at all. He's kissing on hot women, Rhea Liv.
Dude, he lives the life, dude. And his wife is smoking hot too. And she's all she understands about what
beautiful.
This guy's living the life, dude.
Beautiful wife who's understanding of the business. I'm pretty sure, when you're married to a wrestler and who's has a family history like that, you got to be understanding.
Yeah.
Probably the only dude that can wear a mustache like that and get away with it and just living his best life. And I'm here for it. I'm so excited and happy for that dude. Like, and just seems like a genuine, well-rounded, down to earth kid too. So he
was saying he was saying on a podcast that he ended up the mustache came up on accident. He just woke up late and didn't shave one day. He showed up.
And he's like,
they're like, yo, don't shave.
Stupid.
Yeah.
I honestly see Dom walking out with that title.
Much deserved if he does. Like you said, like if Braun keeps it, I'm not gonna hate it. Just if you're gonna change it, then you put it on Dom.
Either give it to Dom or have Braun keep it. And it's Finn and Penta in the match. Just those two are nothing. Nothing against Penta. Nothing against Balor. Those guys are dope, but to me, it only made. Do you think this is the breakup of Judgment Day 2.0 at WrestleMania?
Yeah, kind of like the breakup of the NWO at WrestleMania 18.
It has to be. I mean, the Judgment Day is barely a thing. Like when they had Rhea and Priest and they're like running Raw, that was one thing. Like this
yeah, you know what's funny is there's always that meme on X where it's like, does it ever drive you crazy just how fast the night changes? And I wanted to put the picture where all four of them had the belts. When Dom had the NXT belt, they had the tag title, she had the women's title.
Yep. Yeah. Didn't DX break up at a WrestleMania? Was that WrestleMania? They broke up one year at a WrestleMania. Was it WrestleMania 15?
I think Shawn Michaels might have already been retired for the first time.
But then they had they had like the new DX with X.
Oh, the new DX
X-Pac turned, right? Or someone turned. X-Pac was involved somehow. I don't know.
I think
someone turned on him.
I want to say I don't know.
Triple H turned on X-Pac, maybe.
No, X-Pac turned on one WrestleMania. X-Pac turned on Kane. They were like tag team.
Oh yeah.
But then like Triple H turn. It had to be either WrestleMania or something else where it was like just the whole night DX like turning against each other. Kind of similar to like
that's one thing I miss about wrestling too. Like that's one thing I miss about wrestling. What they used to do, like you'd be watching. Sometimes even pay-per-views would have a whole show-long storyline.
Yeah.
Like you said, like DX turning on each other all night or something. Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely see like some friction. If they don't break up, even more friction to the Judgment Day. I don't think they're gonna. But the question is, do they turn Balor face after or?
Yeah, because Balor's gonna be the one to break the whole shit up because he's gonna be tired of being fucked out of the title by Dom and all these other people that are supposed to be helping.
We gotta think too, and we can't forget anything or try our best now. But like for a while, like Dom was trying, forever to get like another member in the Judgment Day. Do you think that that's still a storyline, or do you think they
could be? Yeah. See, I originally thought that was going to be Chad Gable, but I was wrong.
As part of the Judgment.
Yeah,
I can see it, but he's got this thing going on with American Made. So do you think Chad Gable would have left?
What was that thing where like he sent Chad Gable to Mexico or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
To learn the arts of lucha libre.
Yeah.
Well, for a while, people assumed it was like Aleister Black, but I think Aleister's going to be on. Maybe Aleister's going to. I see Aleister more, and he just fits like the Raw vibe more than. I'm pretty sure they'll put him on SmackDown, but I think his vibe would be more geared towards
I agree.
Raw.
Yeah.
But who knows? Even if he's even coming to the WWE. I mean, the promo that they had looks like an Aleister Black promo.
I'm sure it's him. I think it's
So yeah. Do you think Rusev is coming back?
They signed him, right? Or no? No. So he only got released. He isn't signed yet.
I believe that's the word going around.
I think he'll eventually be back. Like I'm not like jumping up and down for him to be back. You know what I mean? But I mean, like I don't hate it.
No, I heard could probably not be true, but I heard him and Lana are like back together in like real life.
I thought they got divorced.
I thought so too. Or at least
we all got different stories. One of us said they're back together. One says they're
well, God damn it. I would too. He was tired of getting cucked in every single storyline.
Oh my God. Oh my poor Rusev. That's so. I think that's probably.
Ziggler, he got cucked by Dolph Ziggler, Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
How many more? There's got to be more in AEW.
Vince made Lana make out with Dolph Ziggler in front of both of them to make sure they had sexual chemistry before they came up with the story. Like Vince,
that's probably the worst release in wrestling history. It's like yeah, Bobby Lashley is slobbing down your wife one week, and then the next week you get released. You're like, right. Not only did we cuck your wife, but good luck on your future endeavors. Like,
grab your shit, dude.
It's like, grab your stuff. And then they're like, no, not you, Lana. Rusev. We still got more cucking to do. You have to do a sex scene. You have to do a sex scene with the returning wrestler, the Blue Meanie. Rusev, you're out of here. We're keeping your wife.
You have to do it with Abe Knuckleball Schwartz.
So that must be like the worst. That must have been like probably the worst time in Rusev's life. It's like not only are you like banging my wife in front of me, but I gotta watch it and just take it.
I mean, when you think about it.
I gotta take it on the chin while she takes it on the chin, and then you're gonna release me.
I mean, when you think about it, they kind of cucked CM Punk too, with Daniel Bryan and with Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah. Oh, with when he was with when they were doing the AJ Lee thing.
Yeah,
but that was more. That was diff. I don't think they weren't like. Maybe they were dating, but they weren't like married at that time.
True. It's funny that Dolph Ziggler's like the scapegoat for all these cuck storylines.
Yeah, it's like just send him over to Dolph, the home wrecker of wrestling. Just send him over. But yeah, that's a terrible.
He looks enough. Judging by the hair, he looks enough like Jeff Jarrett so he can play the home wrecker role.
Yeah, I definitely felt terrible for Rusev during that time. You could tell it was like you could just tell when the light from a man's eyes is like gone.
How could it, man?
They like completely destroy that man's soul. There's no. Just the emotion on his face. That's not enough acting in the world. Like poor bastard.
I don't think I knew that story about Vince made them make out in front of Rusev.
No, I didn't know that either. But it definitely sounds like something Vince would do. Like Vince is the king. Vince is the king of cucks. Yes. Like Eric Bischoff. Like his arch nemesis from late '90s, like made out with his wife and his daughter. So Vince, yeah, I wouldn't be from what we've learned for the past couple years. Vince is definitely into that shit.
Yeah.
Look, here you go, guys.
So I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be
I found it.
surprised. At all.
I'm pulling it up. Let's see. You'll see. I'm about to show you the truth right now. Watch. What's up here? Come on.
While you look for that, Josh, have any of you guys seen the WrestleMania? Okay,
The WrestleMania what?
WrestleMania 9 documentary.
We were talking about it the other day, but I haven't got around to it.
I haven't. I'll probably
I
watch
watched
it.
it yesterday.
How was it? I heard it's phenomenal. I heard it was great.
It was really good, dude. It's really good. Yeah, definitely check it out, man. Really good. And, it's long. It's like 2 hours, yo. It's not some weak ass like 42-minute documentary. This shit is 2 hours long.
Yeah, I heard this is like one of the first, footages of like behind the scenes. They were like, let's just film this and just see where it goes, just in case we could use it in the future. This was like one of the first times where Vince like allowed this. Now you got to remember, this was even before what's the Beyond the Mat and the Wrestling with Shadows documentary. This was like one of the first times where Vince was like, film backstage. I hear like he's talking to like a young Shawn Michaels back then, and then we got to remember, like, I know we think like Shawn Michaels like was just born on this earth as a wrestler, but no, he was just starting out in the WWE, and it's like very, it's just amazing, like the people we grew up, watching, like a Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, Triple H, guys along those lines, what's the dude, Jamie Noble, these guys that we grew up watching, they're behind the scenes now running the show. And like, I forgot who said it, but just makes us feel like a bunch of like old men, like a bunch of uncles now. It's like, we're the back in my day generation now.
We're getting there.
It's
and it doesn't feel like it, like it's still, there's that meme that's around that's like wrestling 20 years ago, and it shows like Stone Cold and The Rock and Triple H and shit, and it's like what you think wrestling 20 years ago was, or 30 years ago, is fucking like Hulk Hogan and like Coco Beware and shit, dude. But it's not, dude.
It's Bruno Sammartino.
Yeah, but it's not, man. Like shit.
What year? 30 years ago, where were we in WWE or wrestling in general?
We were in 95.
95. So the rise of Stone Cold.
We were in the struggle era.
The
Monday Night War.
So in 95, I thought the Monday Night War started like in 97-ish.
Oh, well, Nitro started in 95. The first Nitro was in 95.
Oh, get out of here. So no, we weren't quite in the Attitude Era yet.
No.
We were in the New Generation era and around that time. So New Generation, we had the Shawn Michaels, we had the Bret Harts, kicking things off. We didn't Stone Cold was rising to power.
Stone Cold was just beginning his career.
Yeah, he was just, man, that's crazy.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. And then about another 10 years, we'll be talking about, Attitude Era going into Ruthless Aggression.
Yeah.
Man, it's crazy. Time flies, man. Time definitely flies. Yeah, I definitely feel like an unk now,
So here's this article right here. That was my reward. Former WWE star recalls kissing Lana in front of then husband Rusev and Vince McMahon.
So who was that? Like Dolph talking about? That was his reward, or Bobby Lashley?
So Rusev and Lana's real life relationship was used multiple times for storyline purposes. Yeah, we know. No one can forget the iconic kiss between Bobby Lashley and the ravishing Russian. However, years before this incident, then couple was involved in a love rectangle with Dolph Ziggler and Summer Rae. All right, so Dolph Ziggler went out and busted open and said that rather than rewarding him with victories and championships, Vince McMahon rewarded him by making him kiss C.J. Perry. He revealed that he was once in a room with Lana and Rusev where Vinnie Mac told them about the idea. He had to practice kissing Lana right in front of Rusev. Meanwhile, Vince watched them while writing things down with a pencil. He also highlighted the differences in love angles between Hollywood and wrestling. While acting, people ensured that all parties involved are comfortable with the scene. However, this was not the case in WWE during 2010s. But it was the case there where he basically voluntold him that he was going to
There's more down there. Scroll down.
make out with her in front of him.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that was true. This sounds about right. sounds like something Vince would
Yeah,
do,
dude.
just to do it, just to get off on doing it. So yeah, so poor Rusev, man.
Well, he's the type of dude that he like gets off on humiliation and shit, dude.
Yeah.
So
Like,
basically,
yeah.
So basically, Rusev was like one of the guys in those pornos where he's like, "Where's my wife? I can't find my wife," and she's like under the table with her legs sticking out.
Yeah, dude.
It's like, have you seen Janice? And it's like,
Yeah.
and the guy sitting at the table like, "No, I haven't. Oh God, I haven't seen her since she left to go to the store."
Yeah.
So why are you making those funny faces? He's like, I'm having a stroke. And then Russo's like, all right, see my wife Janice, just let me know. So
Like,
Russo was that guy.
Yeah, dude, not even just with that. Like he just humiliates people. Like he's done it to Jim Ross, he's done it to Booker T. Like if he can do it to you, he's gonna do it to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
In any fashion that he can. It's like a power thing to prove that he owns you, dude.
But on the flip side of that coin, Vince has embarrassed himself. This guy's literally this guy's literally like I can name like on a handful of examples of like where Vince is like embarrassed himself, made himself look like an idiot.
Yeah.
Dude's literally pissed himself on TV. Had his ass shoved in somebody's, or had his face shoved in somebody's, ass.
And Rikishi was at that.
Rikishi, Big Show, he's dropped trousers and had someone kiss his ass on more than so Vince, he dishes one thing I appreciate about Vince is like he would have done the same thing, he asked of
he
his
would never ask you to do something he wouldn't do.
Yeah, so he might ask you to go out there. Look, this is a guy that sacrificed his own. We're talking about people kissing in front of like Vince, and he's watching it. This dude like literally directed like Eric Bischoff kissing his wife, and he's like, "Yeah, this time with more tongue. This time, yeah, slub her down." Like, yeah, it's like he directed that whole segment. Yeah.
Bischoff kissed that with a Vince mask on. He like had a Vince mask on. He ripped it off and started making out with her.
Absolutely, and I wouldn't be surprised if Vince was behind the camera, directing all that. So it's like, yeah. So he dishes it, but he takes it too. So
I don't think there's anybody alive that's lived like a comparable life to him.
No, I don't think so either. Evil genius.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Like he created this whole thing. Like everything, like every promotion that ever spawns or anything that wrestling related is always going to circle back to Vince McMahon, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Say what you want to say about Vince. Like I said, more hits than misses. I like where this era is going now, but like
I have a question for you about Vince. Do you think, because at one time it's inarguable, like there's no argument to be had that in his prime, he was the greatest wrestling promoter of all time
I
with the
still
angles, shit like that, storyline, everything perfect storm shit. Do you think later in his career that he was too stubborn to realize that he was just like not in touch with this anymore, like with
uh,
the business or?
I would say even when he wasn't in his prime, he was doing a hell of a lot better than, the majority of these promoters, like just based on that alone. I hate this, like, you two things could be true. Like, you could praise one thing and not shit on the other.
Yeah,
Like, and I hate this whole, oh, thank God, Vince is gone because he's so out of touch. This is Triple H's era now, or whatever. Okay, you could be like, okay, I prefer Triple H's era over Vince, or vice versa. You don't
yeah,
have to shit. You don't have to shit on the whole McMahon era.
right,
This guy gave you basically your childhood.
yeah,
People talk more about the Attitude Era and the things that happened in the Attitude Era than things that are going on now. That's for damn sure.
true,
Who
yeah,
was behind all that outrageousness of the Attitude Era? Like, yes, I really love what they're going with the Triple H era. Now that Triple H is behind the wheel, but as far as I know, you know, and I know Triple H is just getting started, but
yeah,
I get there's not much water cooler talk, about what's going on now, as opposed to like when you used to go to school. Like, everyone would be like, "Oh, did you see what Stone Cold did? He put a gun, to McMahon's,
yeah,
head
yeah,
and pissed himself, or Stone Cold, sprayed brought out a whole beer truck and sprayed. That was all
yeah,
people talk about when you went to school, when you went to work. And then, you go to work now, you might be like, oh yeah, what happened on Raw today? This is what happened, but there's
And it
really,
might be with
really no.
it might be with one person like
Yeah,
in my job.
yeah, but
right,
like during the Attitude Era, you had like 5, 6 people just gathered around talking about,
Yeah.
the craziness that happened on, Raw, the craziness of Undertaker, Gold Dust,
yo, Goldust,
Stone
man,
Cold.
Goldust, like every time I see him in the Royal Rumble, I know he's not going to win, but I always root for Goldust, bro. Like,
It's time for him to go into the Hall of Fame. Who is one person when you're like, why the hell aren't they in the Hall of Fame yet? Like, why are they taking their sweet ass time? Like, who's you guys is
Um,
you're like, there's no reason why. Speaking of that, you guys think on that. Remember when Batista was announced for the induction for WrestleMania 30? It was WrestleMania 36 because they were supposed to do it in Florida. Batista was supposed to be the
yeah,
the,
yeah,
the
because it was the
headliner.
year after. It was the year after his last.
Yeah, and yeah, and then after that, they were like, nope, scrap that. We haven't heard about. Yeah, Batista was supposed to be in the Hall of Fame. He has yet to be inducted, so they just scrapped that. I just thought that was just rather odd because, yeah, like the next year they went with like the NWO. No,
Yeah,
that was the Hall of Fame when they combined the two. So it was like
yeah.
a two-night Hall of Fame. Kane headlined it one, and then the NWO headlined the other. But yeah, going back to who's when you look at this person, you're like, the hell is going on? They're taking forever. When is this person? There should be no reason why they aren't in the Hall of Fame.
Um,
oh, um, well, I mean, as a tag team, I understand they've had their beef and shit, but Demolition should be in, dude.
Okay, yeah.
Demolition's still not in. Like, I understand they have bad blood because when they left WWF at the time, like they went on the Indies with their same gimmick, and
Mhm.
WWF was like, "Stop!" and they're like, "No, like,
No,
not
but
money, bro. Like, fuck you, dude." So they just kept
yes,
doing it. I understand bad blood, but come on, dude.
yeah. There's been plenty of times where people have had bad blood with the WWE, but still, like were inducted, came to the induction. I can
Yeah,
name, Bret Hart, Bruno Sammartino, Ultimate Warrior. You know, and then after that, they pretty much bury the hatchet and then like continue to have like a working relationship with the WWE after that. But
right.
okay, so Demolition, yeah, Demolition, all right, yeah, yes. be in the Hall of Fame.
One of the greatest tag teams of all time.
I'm, my pick before we get to Jack. Why isn't Miss Elizabeth in the Hall of Fame? What the hell's going on there?
So,
Why isn't Cyndi Lauper in the Hall of Fame? She literally was like one of the key pillars for
yeah,
the rock and roll era of wrestling. You
yeah.
know,
I could
Mainstream
see
appeal.
I could see the reason why Miss Elizabeth isn't in the Hall of Fame is because
The OD.
of the way she died. So her family probably holds WWE accountable for it to some extent, or just pro wrestling in general.
but
So then they probably have distanced themselves, and that's probably could be why.
I believe, but from what I heard recently is she's got I forgot where she was born. I think like Kentucky or something like that. She has a statue there, like they built in her honor. I think like she's even inducted into like their like Kentucky Hall of Fame or whatever. But like what happened to her wasn't WWE's fault. She wasn't even in the WWE at the time. She had just been in WCW.
Yeah,
If anyone's to blame, I don't
but I
think.
was that's why I said just pro wrestling in general.
Okay,
Maybe
yeah,
not associated or something, but
but
I mean,
to me, it makes no sense to be the first lady of wrestling and then not
right.
being not being the not being. But no, I definitely see where you're
If
going.
I
with
mean,
that.
if that was the case, though, if so, I can't really see it being associated with her death for why like she's not in because they're letting Lex Luger in.
Yeah,
Like people question about her death for years, dude.
and even like went as far as like to blame Lex for it.
Yeah,
Not saying that it was his fault at all, but he got the brunt of that pretty much.
yeah,
Which is unfortunate because from what I hear, Lex has turned his life around as like a
yeah,
stand-up guy now. Well, shouldn't have said that. I said stand-up guy. No, but anyway, is a great guy. From what I hear, and is like turned his
yeah,
life around. But yeah,
yeah,
I don't get it. Owen Hart, but for obvious reasons, he's not in there, which is a damn shame.
yeah.
There's
I
just
agree.
like and I know the Rock's time will come, but I'm like, wow, like he should probably be there soon.
Do
But
you think,
his
do you,
time will come.
like, do you think
What's
that's
that?
because that like do you think that's because he wants to keep the window open to be like an active competitor?
I
Like
mean, you can
you don't
still
really
be
have to.
inducted.
Well, I mean, Edge and Rey Mysterio are both in the Hall of Fame, and they're
Hmm.
Right, right.
Yeah.
and
So
I
you
mean, I
don't.
understand that Edge went away for almost a decade, but Rey Mysterio didn't, and still hasn't.
Yeah,
Right.
there's plenty of wrestlers who have been inducted into the Hall of Fame. I mean, who have
Is
wrestled.
Eddie Guerrero in the Hall of Fame?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Do
WrestleMania
you think?
WrestleMania 22. Yeah, he was the one like he died in November and then
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the next WrestleMania
Yeah.
inducted in. I
Yeah.
I understood why they did it, but I was like, damn, that's kind of
That was
early.
quick.
I would have loved to have seen him like inducted like in like today's
Yeah.
Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you think? Do you think that there should be like actual Hall of Fame, like a real one?
Yeah, I've said that. I've said that for years. There should be like there is a baseball Hall of Fame and shit.
it
But
should.
I did hear that that WWE bought all this property in Las Vegas next to the UFC and the UFC Apex and the UFC Performance Center, which is just desert out there. So they bought like all this property and they're gonna make it like a TKO complex. So maybe that's where they'll do a physical Hall of Fame eventually.
Maybe, yeah, because they like for like WrestleMania weekend for WrestleMania Access, they set up like a mini Hall of
Yeah.
Fame, which it looked amazing. You know, they had like Ric Flair's robes and shit like that, and
Yeah.
just everyone's like who was in the Hall of Fame, like they retired. One
Oh
of
yeah,
Jerry
they
King
had like
Lawler's
externals,
crowns. So
riders and shit.
yeah, so that was amazing. So I can only imagine what so I can only imagine what actual Hall of Fame just solely dedicated to that would be. My hope is that they don't have it, in nothing against them, but I don't want to go to Dubai to
No, I mean, it
Right.
shouldn't be
don't want to
stupid.
go to they have this like really cool, I forgot what they call it, but they have this really cool thing in Dubai.
Yeah, I've seen
Uh,
the ads. With that,
but
it's like a mega store, but it's also
yeah, and I'm
some
like, damn
interactive
it. I'm
shit.
like, why do I gotta fly 20 hours or whatever where Dubai is just
Yeah,
so
yeah. I mean,
hopefully
wrestling, WWE was made in America. Why is
yeah,
it here?
yeah, I don't want to sound like that guy was like America, but hell yeah, it's like I don't want to go to Dubai and
Yeah. No, like
go to a Hall of Fame and all that. Yeah, this is America. This is American wrestling. Even though we
right.
go out of the country and they just embarrass us, but
Yeah.
this is
Power.
American. This is American wrestling, man. I
Yeah.
want my Hall of Fame in America. I want it. I want I want it golf of American style of America style here
Yeah,
and Hall of Fame. So hopefully no, because original talks was I thought they were talking about it being in Florida, but I think
yeah. I heard Orlando too. Yeah,
yeah, but I wouldn't be against it being in Vegas. It actually sounds more appealing in Vegas than Florida
True.
yeah.
for some
Yeah.
reason. So I would not be against that at all. Probably would motivate me to because I've been wanting to go to Vegas like
Mhm.
forever now, so that probably motivate me
Yeah.
to go. But yeah. So yeah, trying to think. Yeah, Miss Elizabeth has just been on my mind like heavy. Like, why isn't she
Yeah.
in the Hall of Fame yet? Cyndi Lauper.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like any
You know what
celebrities.
I noticed too? Like they're only promoting Triple H's going in on like Raw.
Yeah, he's already gone in.
Anybody else, dude? It's like
He's already
shit,
gone
dude.
in. He's already gone in 2 different times with the Click and with DX too.
Yeah.
No, this will be his. No, He's only been inducted once with the DX.
You know, there was the Click too, like WrestleMania
Oh yeah.
30.
Him, Kevin Nash, and
X-Pac
X-Pac. Yeah.
and Scott Hall, I think too, before he died.
No, 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 no. It wasn't. It was just. It wasn't the Click. It was just.
Was it just Hall and Nash?
It was just.
It might have just been Scott Hall.
It was. It was Scott Hall for. It was Scott Hall for 30. And then what year did they it was Scott Hall for 30, and then one year they had Kevin Nash because it was Kevin Nash and Macho Man. Macho Man was supposed to headline, but because of obvious reasons he couldn't headline, so it ended up being Kevin Nash headline. I think that was WrestleMania. Ooh,
Well,
wanna
Macho
say-
Man died in 2011.
yeah. Which WrestleMania was Macho Man inducted? I want to say 30. I want to say 31.
I
want
think,
to
yeah, that was it. I remember now because I remember all the people wearing Macho Man shirts
for
for it.
WrestleMania 31.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, this will be only Triple H's second time uh being this will be Bret Hart's third ring though, which is and
So I actually like the addition of the matches.
I was gonna ask you that. Now
Yeah,
is
'cause
it
they
now,
do that in they do that in UFC too. They
Yeah.
put a special fight in every year.
Oh, that makes so now for WWE, are they doing just solely matches, or because I heard at one point it was just matches, and then people say it's like no, it's not only matches, but it's like moments. You know what I mean?
I can see either, honestly.
So so like one day, I was talking about Steve Austin, Stone Cold with the beer truck. Will
Yeah,
something like that be inducted in the Hall of Fame, or are we just like looking at are we looking at matches,
I
or are we
think I
looking
think
at,
matches for right now.
or are we looking at WrestleMania matches too?
That's what I.
Oh,
That's
I
what
think
I
it's.
wanted
I
to
think
do.
it might just be. It could just be a match. It could be a WrestleMania match, but it could be something off of Monday Night Raw too.
Okay, so if you guys had to like pick the
Yeah,
next match to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, what are we looking at?
I mean, you could start off with the first Shawn Michaels and Undertaker at WrestleMania.
yeah, you could do that.
Is that too soon? Is that no? I was gonna say is that too soon, but no, it's
Yeah,
not.
It's been
It's
17,
happened years ago.
17 years.
That WrestleMania 25 was 17 years
Yeah,
ago.
because it was 2009, and we're in or
Oh,
14. 14. My bad. I got my years mixed up. 14.
it's 14 years.
2009, and we're in
so
2025.
I guess that's a little. This just feels like
I,
yesterday when that match happened.
Yeah.
I would
So
go.
so
Mine would be Angle HBK WrestleMania.
okay. See, I want to try to do something. See, if Hulk wasn't a dick, if Hogan wasn't such an asshole, you know, Andre versus Hogan, the
Yeah,
shoe in. But
yeah.
he's gonna get booed out of. I don't think I don't think Hogan's getting any more rings. He's getting booed out of the. He might get a ring, but he's gonna get booed out of the building because that would
Depending
be
on what
my
they do.
that would be my.
He might get booed out of the building, but not after he promotes his beer.
Yeah, he's gotta promote his real American beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been my next induction would be not saying that that's the greatest match, but like
No,
that
you're right.
like
Like
defined.
yeah,
Yeah.
for like impact.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
like
so
yeah,
I honestly swear I honestly think that probably would have been the match that they would have went for this year, but then they like saw like Hogan like getting his ass handed to him, and poor Jimmy Hart like in the background just looking like a goof waving that flag, probably wondering what the hell is going on. And I probably if they didn't boo him
Hogan
out of the
John Cena,
building.
they're really booing you out there.
so probably they didn't boo him. I probably would think it was Andre Hawk, being the first
Yeah,
induction. But no, that I remember watching that Bret Hart Stone Cold match. Was fairly young at the time.
yeah.
Really didn't really understand what was going on, but I knew what I was watching was pretty special. And that double turn, just genius happened in the Vince McMahon era too. Like
Yeah,
we gotta stop shitting on Vince.
yeah,
What we found out recently, yeah, terrible. But as far as like setting that aside, not trying to sound like a
yeah.
dick, but setting that
But
aside,
I mean, like the argument with me is like, he never hid who he was. He was doing the same shit on screen.
yeah. So
Like,
it's like, yeah, when you hear like things like that, when you hear like about a McMahon, when you hear about R. Kelly, you're like, yeah,
yeah,
they were giving you guys clues. They might not
yeah,
have been like saying, outright saying it, like I
right,
enjoy this, this is what I get off on, but
right.
there sometimes there's truth in art,
Yeah,
and,
a
vi-
lot
and,
of it.
and, and vice versa. So, but yeah, we got to stop shitting on Vince and just like talking like everything he did was just a complete flop and a complete failures. Vince McMahon
He
had
was
more
he
hits
was
and
figured
bangers
out.
than flops. So it's like it was he out of touch, during his like
Towards the
last
end, he was, man,
yeah,
because like he was just building shows off of like rematches and just like shit we've seen 2 weeks ago, and just
yeah,
throwing it on a pay per view just because he could, just because he had a network to put it on.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I agree with that, but we could say the same thing about Triple H and this whole Gunther Uso match. This is like their third or fourth time that they're gonna be and this is Jay had I wish Gunther would retain the title because I don't think he's had it longer than I think he should have. But if Jay loses this match, man, Jay has to win this match. I
For his
think
character, he does.
uh
He can't
if
go
he
down 0-4.
if he loses this match, I think people have already turning sour on him. And this is a shitty spot for Jay to be
It
in.
kind of, I was going to say this earlier, it kind of feels like a poor man's Kofi Mania buildup.
Yeah. But there's no excitement like a Kofi. Definitely no excitement like a Daniel Bryan build up.
I have a theory of why Jay is going to win, though.
No, I have no doubt he's going to win. He has to.
Yeah.
Has to at this point. Absolutely has to. I wish Gunther held the title a little bit longer, but yeah, what's your theory?
Oh, because for like every night, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they're doing events at some nightclub in Las Vegas. Every night they're having different wrestlers, different rappers, all that shit. Saturday night, one of like the 4 wrestlers advertised to appear is Jey Uso.
Mm-hmm. So you don't think it would make any sense?
I don't see why he would be. Why would you want to meet Jey Uso and be clubbing with Jey Uso after he just lost?
It's just lost. But like I see where you're going, but if you were at the Super Bowl and if you were at this year's Super Bowl and you like saw the Kansas Chiefs lose, like, and then like you go to a nightclub and you see Kelsey there, would you be like, I'm not associating with that loser?
Yeah, true.
No, absolutely not. You'd be like, that's fucking Kelsey. I don't care. He lost the match.
And then also,
tonight.
Like, Gunther's not the type of dude to be at a club neither.
But
so,
yeah. But yeah. But no, I get what you're saying because it would be a cool photo op for you to take a picture, but not only with Jay, but with Jay with the title. You can, so that makes sense. But no, I say he has to win. He has to win because it's like if he loses, people are already losing faith. But no. If he loses, he's just gonna be, and this is a shitty spot for Jay to be in. I feel so bad for him.
And dude, like my whole issue with this build is simple. It's that if you're gonna do this, then he shouldn't have lost to Gunther a week before Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Just keep
I get the story with that, but it's like how many times has Jay been given this opportunity where he's literally been in the main events where he's gone against Roman for the championship twice. You don't forget his Intercontinental Championship chase with Braun Breaker. I think he lost that one time and then won it one time, got the IC title. They took it off him like the 2 weeks after, I think.
And when him and Cody won the tag title.
Yeah, so it's like this is guys. I'm calling it now. People are gonna turn on him even more. It doesn't matter if he wins or loses. I don't know how he's gonna get out of this spot. I can just crowd's still behind him, but you know how we are. We love the underdogs, and we turn against the top guys. We just love an underdog, and
I'm just not interested in a main event scene with Jey Uso leading it.
I don't. I like what they're doing. I love that they're giving him a chance.
Yeah.
But I don't see it. I don't.
He's a tag team guy, and there's nothing wrong with being a tag team guy.
I won't even say he's a tag team guy, but like going back to the whole mid card thing, he could be like the United States champion, the IC champion, and run with that. sorry, but I don't see. I like one of the signs that they had when
So yeah,
somebody was
mid
holding up
event,
the
Jay Uso.
mid event, and it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And, it's funny
uh,
because like he looked right at it. It's like, damn.
yeah, he's like, yeah, it's like right there. He's like, oh, I know that had to, but
All
nothing
right.
wrong with that. I don't see Jay having that title going to SummerSlam, or he loses it at
But to me, like
SummerSlam.
that cheapens. So the reason that like the Braun Breaker reign works because it didn't cheapen Gunther's by making his follow up reign be short. So
Mhm.
like if Cody's reign makes Roman's look stronger because he's had it for so long after Roman had it for so long. You know what I mean?
Mhm. I just don't see like because I don't know if you guys followed NXT UK, but Gunther was like their top champion. He was the heavyweight
Yeah.
champion for like
Yeah, I
almost.
remember.
He was about as had like a title reign almost as long as Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make any, and it just
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense for. I think this is the most agile, athletic, brutal Gunther we've seen, and
Yeah.
for him just to have it just for like not even six. He got it at SummerSlam, right? So it's
Yeah.
August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. So almost like 9 months he's had that title, but 8 9 months is like
The drop in
nothing.
the bucket for Gunther.
Yeah, it's like you would expect Gunther to have it just as long as a Roman Reigns, you know.
Yeah, I agree.
Gunther is the longest reigning IC champion,
Yeah.
so I wouldn't be opposed. I would not be opposed to Gunther having that surpassing like a Roman Reigns, and then surpass. Someone
Close
needs
to
to,
it. Close to it, I'd be fine with.
yeah.
All right.
Uh, as
Let's
as long as if he surpassed like a Hogan, which probably be like 4 or 5 years, which I
yeah.
don't see them doing that, but
Yeah.
wouldn't be against that at all. But I think this is too soon. Like
It is.
this is too soon for Gunther to lose the match, and to lose the title. If Jay loses, like people are gonna be like, we're done with you. They can't do anything sketchy. If they do like a count out or disqualification, they're getting booed out of the building. I just don't see
True. So, but
But
that's what I'm saying, bro. If that match opens, something funky's gonna happen
who.
because you have the rest of the show to save it,
Uh-huh.
to save the fans like revolting and shit. You know what I mean?
No, they can't have like a count hour. If they do that, uh no, you don't want to start. No, you don't want to start out. I'm not saying that we know that that's going to be the curtain jerker, the opening match.
Yeah.
But you don't want to even start out with
Booing.
something
Yeah.
like that happening. Like,
True.
yeah, you don't want to have it to like start out and you're already dead in the water. Your first match ends in like a count out or no disqualification. But Jay's thing was like, God forgive me or whatever for what I'm
He
gonna
could
do
be
to
DQ'd
you.
by like snapping and like fucking like going too far. The moment's too much. You know what I mean? He could do something like that
yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, okay. And then like he gets disqualified with
because of his
like
rage.
that
And shit.
way.
Yeah, because
I
he did say pray for you and shit, dude.
Yeah, and so he like beats Gunther to like a living
Yeah,
to like a
kind of like how
pulp.
he did
And
to Jimmy, but he does it to Gunther. Yeah,
okay, if that's going to happen, that I can see that being like the third or fourth match. I don't see that being the first match that happening and people being too pleased with that because
true.
you're already starting the show out on a sour note.
Yeah, yeah,
So I can see that happening, but
yeah.
if that match is first, I could
Jay's
see Jay's winning. Um, but if it's like the third or fourth, I either see Gunther winning or it ending in a disqualification. You got to start out
Let's go third or fourth.
strong. Yeah.
All right, let's wrap it up with this here. What do you think's be the match of the weekend? Jack, go ahead. Match. Of the weekend.
Let me look at the card real quick.
All right.
Oh, the triple threat is going to steal the show.
Okay. Both nights. All right. Go ahead.
I see as far as like just story wise and just everything that's behind it. It's Cena Cody stealing the show for me.
I think storyline wise, Cena and Cody in the triple threat, and then match wise, honestly, match physicality wise, I think Jacob Fatu and LA Knight.
For some reason, I don't know why, but I'm putting my money on Logan AJ Styles.
Yeah, I keep forgetting about that one too.
Sleeper, man. That's a sleeper banger. People are
And I'm not even a fan of AJ Styles like that.
Yeah, but their two styles go together.
Yeah, I can see that tearing the house down. I don't know why, but I got a feeling. But yeah, that's my prediction.
Yeah. So storyline wise, I'm going to go with the triple threat, just because I feel like that. I don't know. It's kind of weird because both main events, they're not like. It's not like that we're dealing with anybody young, right? We're not dealing with someone who's like 27 against someone who's 29.
Yeah,
so
everybody's in their 30s or 40s. Yeah.
Right. So neither one is going to shape like the future of the company. I guess if I had to pick between the two, though, I'd say that the triple threat has more on the line future-wise.
Yeah.
Because no matter what, at the end of the day, Cena's retiring at the end of this year.
Yeah, but Cena's thing is, which we could talk about how a little bit wonky that is, but Cena's thing is like he's taking the championship and taking it with, which has been done before, and there's just got a new title or whatever. But,
so I mean, I'm not opposed to them with them just gifting it to him, be like, "Yo, retire with it." The actual one, then create a new one. That's fine with me.
I guess so. And then the story with that could be like, I don't know. People are like, Cody, you let us down or whatever. You were supposed to protect the business. You're Dusty Rhodes' son or whatever. You should know what legacy is. You should know how important this is to us and how hard, your father fought for this title that you have. But I could see that happening. But Cena's not retiring after WrestleMania. He still has to wrestle all the way to December. So
But what I mean by that is either way, no matter what happens Sunday, he's retiring at the end of this year. So it's not going to shape the future of the business.
Yeah.
No matter what,
But it's not like if Cena wins, which I think is why Cody's gonna win, because it only makes sense. And Triple H loves Ric Flair, and I don't think he's gonna, not under his watch, is gonna have Ric Flair's record be broken. I think that's gonna be a long a long streak that's not gonna be broken in a while. I think it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen eventually, but I just don't see it happen. I don't see it happening anytime soon. In my opinion, I think Cody has to retain, and that way we get to the Cody Orton. That's the only thing in my mind I see. We gotta get to Cody Orton. We gotta get to Cody Orton. We gotta get to Cody Punk. Roman Reigns still has to get his rematch in. I don't see where they. I know they'd get there, but I don't see where they would go putting the title on Cena. And then Cena's not even around, every week.
Well,
They've done it before, but he's not around like every show to, appear with that title. So I don't know. It could happen, but I really think it's just gonna
that's quality wise. I'm with you. I'm going Logan, AJ. Even though the build, there's been like virtually no build.
But as far as like physicality and
yeah.
Say what you want to say about Logan Paul. That dude is like it's been entertaining
Yeah,
to
yeah.
you
Has
could tell
never had a bad match since he
no,
started doing
and
this.
you could tell he takes this seriously,
Right.
which I think is why you may not have to like him, but respect him. He's taking this
Yeah, he's
seriously.
not just doing it for
Yeah,
the spotlight like other
yeah.
people did in the past.
This is something that you could tell like he enjoys doing this. This is like his like no, this is what I'm thriving, what I love to do right now. So kudos to him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So
So we have a bunch of wrestling to watch this weekend, which is a fine weekend for me.
Yeah, not
yeah,
in one bit.
I'm probably gonna watch like a bunch of wrestling documentaries. Don't for let's not forget about NXT Stand and Deliver, and then
Yeah.
we got Hall of Fame,
Yeah, Hall of Fame's at 1
WrestleManias.
a.m. our time. 1
Uh,
a.m. Eastern.
what
Yeah,
time?
because it doesn't
1
start till
a.m.
after.
Eastern.
It doesn't
Yeah.
start till after SmackDown, and they're not doing it in the arena for
Right. We're
after
doing it
SmackDown.
2 hours after
They're doing it
SmackDown.
at a theater up the street.
Also, it's like 2 hours after. So
It's at 1 a.m. Eastern, dude.
So SmackDown ends over where I'm at, ends at 10. No, SmackDown's a 2 hour, 3 hour show now.
Three now.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And so they're doing Hall of Fame at 1 a.m.
1 a.m. Yeah, 1 a.m. Eastern. It's nuts. Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Overkill, but it is what it is. It's only once a year.
Yeah, but like, damn. So like, people won't be like getting home or getting to their like hotels till like 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
Right, dude. Yeah.
And then right after that, you have Stand and Deliver, which starts at like
Yeah.
6 a.m. Eastern Pacific time, where I'm at.
So I hope they let those NXT guys like out a little early. They're gonna go or.
I mean,
So
not
that's
everyone.
starting at 9:30 in the morning Eastern, right?
Yeah, West Pacific time.
Oh, okay. So 12:30. Okay.
And so you have to like those superstars have to like get into the building like 2 hours before
No,
to,
no,
get
At
ready.
least 2
Call
hours.
time is 5:30 a.m.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Nah, those NXT guys gotta. Well, let me think. I don't know, man. I hope no NXT guys are obligated to. I hope they can.
I mean, not everyone goes. Not every single person on the roster.
Yeah. So yeah, I think
Like,
I think that's more for like.
Because they
But you
have
got-
like the access, like they used to have like the access with people signing autographs there during the Hall of Fame. So like not
Okay.
every single
Yeah.
person goes to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and then you got to think about those guys too, who are in the
Yeah.
the WWE. They got to go to like sign autographs or whatever, and then they got to be there early in the morning too.
Yeah.
Man, that's tough. That's a tough schedule.
Yeah.
I don't
But
envy
like you
them
said,
at
it's
all.
once a year. But this is the thing. Now they
Yeah.
want to turn this into 4 times. Well, maybe not 4 times a year, but they're testing the waters with the SummerSlam shit being 2 nights.
Yeah, I think that's as far as they go.
I hope.
You're not gonna see like you said Survivor Series.
You're
2
not going to
nights.
be able to. You're not going to be able to sell a Royal Rumble with a night 1 that's just the women's Royal Rumble
Right.
match, and then night 2
Night 2.
with the men's.
Yeah,
Royal
that's not. I think this is about as far as they go. SummerSlam I think is the only one where they could probably get away with it. Anything after that, you're not gonna see, like you said, Survivor Series or Royal Rumble night 1, night 2. Now they start talking about like a like a TLC night 1, night 2. I'll be like,
That's what I'm saying. When is
that's
that,
real.
dude?
I know Jack.
Monday Night Raw is going to be 2 days. SmackDown's going to be 2 days.
I know Jack would love. I know Jack would love a TLC night 1, night 2, but
I would.
he'd go batshit over that. But I don't see that ever happening. So I think SummerSlam is about as far as we go. With the night 1, night 2 thing and the 2-night event. So yeah. I knew it was bound to happen. Whenever I do my play my 2K universe mode, I always do like a 2-night for WrestleMania and SummerSlam because I knew eventually that's where they were gonna go, but nothing after that. So yeah. So hey, whatever makes them the money, I guess.
Yeah.
And I understand the reason why the 2 night, because when I was at 33, I loved being there, but it kind of like dragged on, and by the
Yeah,
time we left,
right, that's what I was
we
saying. Because like
we
we
were
actually asked for WrestleMania to be 2 nights because
yeah,
one night was too much.
yeah.
So we asked for this, and it
It's
feels
like
like we're just gonna take it further.
yeah, it feels like yeah, it felt like after 33, enjoyed being there, but
Yeah,
it literally felt like I had worked a work shift. I was
yeah,
exhausted.
Like when I went to 32, I think I was in the arena from like 3 or 4 p.m. until after midnight.
Yeah, yeah, because they got the pre-show, and then they got, I think they had like a dark match when I went. Then they had the pre-show, the pre-shows, and they had like the actual WrestleMania. So we had got there like at 3, like you said, we got there 3 or 4 in the afternoon, didn't leave till like 3, 4. I want to say 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, it was like 11, 11:30 by the time we got out of there. So yeah, we definitely worked the work shift. So
yeah. Especially all the walk-ins, crazy, dude.
yeah, so no, so that was the only one we asked for, the 2 nights. That makes
Right,
sense. So, SummerSlam really doesn't need 2 nights, but
right.
yeah, if it's going to be like the biggest party of the summer, or they call it the biggest event of the summer, I guess you could do it 2 nights there, but no more 2 nights after that.
Yeah,
That's just overkill at that point. I even think SmackDown going to 3 hours is
that's
overkill.
only temporary. Thank God. That's changing in like May or June or some shit.
Oh yeah, go back. Just everything needs to go back to 2 hours. Why? What
Yeah,
do we need 3 hours for? It's just overkill. But
yeah.
yeah, um,
It is.
yeah,
But all right, everybody, enjoy your WrestleMania Saturday and Sunday. Get some
looking
pizza, chicken wings.
looking
And
forward.
don't
Yeah.
and don't wind up in a cell if your favorite guy doesn't go over.
Yeah, don't be like Dirty Dom. End up in a cell. So,
Yeah, so looking forward to it. Hope everyone enjoys it. I'm only expecting good things to come out of this. Build up, not too impressed with it, but Triple H hasn't failed me yet, so we'll see where
you
it
gotta have
goes.
something cooking, bro.
Yeah, he's cooking. He's cooking a gourmet meal, so
Absolutely. All right, yo. Enjoy
Until
your
next
WrestleMania.
time,
We'll
all
see you
right, you guys.
again on WrestleMania Sunday. Me and Jack will be
Yeah.
back.
we'll do an in between.
Yeah, yeah.
Sure.
So, all right, y'all have a good night. Thank you,
All
Brenda.
right, have a good one.
Until next time.
See you guys around later.
Man.